Morning, y'all. It's the Chupacabra. Today, I'm going to be taking you through my Gen 5 Glock 23 MOS. I bought this gun a little over a year ago. I have recently hit 10K on this. I think I'm closing in close to 11 to 12. So I was putting about 1,000 rounds through it a month. Now, I know why 40. Everyone's gonna ask, why 40? Well, I'm a 40 lover, all right? Love 40, it's a great round, super slept on round. And I previously carried a Gen 3 23, and then before that, I think it was a Gen 4 27. So I bought this to learn how to use pistol dots. So before this, I never ran a pistol dot. I've shot them on friends' guns, but this was like my first attempt at running a dot on a pistol. So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? Well, I want something that's familiar, so I went with a 23 because that's what I was carrying for about a year or two before that. So I got this and couldn't be happier. All right, didn't have much issues, but I will go over some of the issues I had. I'm gonna go over some of the things I've changed on the build and for reasons why. So I got this as I'm pretty sure it was a factory rebuild if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong on that, but it's a MOS that I used a forward controls adapter plate for the Acro P2. The Acro P2 has been treating me very well. Haven't had any fogging issues. I'll actually roll in a little clip somewhere right here of me like putting this literally in the rain, just drenching it, just to really test it and show that it's good. Also the light pass as well. The comp was not always here. Comp was added later. I have the Amerigo blacked out sights. I don't know if you guys can see this as the co-witness. So they are so low that you can barely use them, but I've never had any issues with the dot. The dot's been phenomenal. This is gonna get its own review, so I don't wanna touch on it too much, but it's been phenomenal. I didn't really have any issues going from iron sights to pistol dot just because a year or two before that, I started training target focus anyway. So really, I had no issues. I might roll in some clips of me shooting it here and there, especially on the first day when I took this out, I have film of that. So one of the things that one of the first upgrades I think I did was textures. Now I used to have combat textures. I didn't like those. They weren't anywhere near grippy enough. So then I went over to the handle it grips, the very aggressive one, like the most aggressive one you can get. That was really good, but it tears up your t-shirts. It tears up a lot of shit. So I ended up going with the Talon Pro. This is what my buddy had and I liked it, so I transitioned over to it eventually. That was a fairly new thing though. One of the other things I did was a magwell. Now this is an eBay magwell, just a cheap magwell. The reason for this was not reloads though, it was leverage on the gun. So the more I got to shoot this, the more I got a feel for the gun and the more I realized it was very top heavy. And I used to run where is it? So this is the light I started running on it. When I first started, just a TLR 7A, good weapon light. This is Glock 19 size, so it was fairly flush with the gun. It was okay. But then what came out after I got the gun was the TLR 7 HLX. This thing is amazing. This is gonna have its own review as well. So this definitely added a little bit of length to the gun, obviously, but I got about double the output. Let's see if I can show you guys. So it adds just a little bit, not much. Highly recommend this. Like I said, it's gonna get its own review. So compared having this on board with this, it did balance out the gun a little better because this is a little bit more weight and the chunkiness and heavy boy that the Acro is. It kind of balanced out, but I still feel like it needed some extra balance, so that was another reason for the magwell. So I figured if I add a little bit of weight here, it'll help balance out the overall gun itself. And then also, it ended up giving me a leverage point because I felt like the gun was getting away from me every time I was shooting it. So that was a big improvement. Then eventually, I got the chiral back strap. This is supposed to help with Glock grip angle. I don't know how well it's doing. I didn't have too much problems because I've always been shooting Glocks pretty much, so I didn't really have too much of a problem, but it was just something I wanted to try. It seems like it helps a little bit with the recoil, like they say, but other than that, it's kind of whatever. Now, I know it looks kind of weird because I don't have a slide stop on this and the trigger looks weird. I'm testing an FRT right now. It's not working right now, but I'm going to email them and fix it, so that's why the slide stop's not on here, because you can't use the slide stop. But one of the first things I did was put it's a Cogworth slide stop. Problem is, which is one of the things I forgot to touch, on the Gen 5 40s, they gave you a chunkier slide. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell this, but typically on 40s, they build them on 9mm guns. So the only thing that's really different is the ejector, obviously the chambering, the extractor, and then like the hole in the slide for the barrel. But on the Gen 5, what they did very well, which also adds to the overall weight, is they made a chunkier slide to soak up some of that recoil. So if you compare this to any other generation of Glock, I don't think they're going to make Gen 6 40s, but anything before the Gen 5, the recoil is a lot better. I know people say 40 is really snappy. This gun's really not that bad. The comp helps a lot, but even without it, it was a very pleasurable gun to shoot. The problem with that is I can't use standard slide stops for 9mm. So I actually had to like file down, Dremel, and bend out the slide stop for this to get it to function. That's why I have wear on the sides. But it functioned just fine. One of the problems with it, oh, wonderful, I'm dropping mags. This is not very fun. I got moon sand everywhere now. That's fine. It's a Glock. It's the AK of the pistol world. One of the issues, though, is because I bent the slide stop out, I wasn't always getting locked back, so I had to make sure all my magazine springs were like the max that they could be. So I didn't go through magazine springs too much, but I did have to replace some. So that kind of was an issue, but not a huge issue. I recently snapped it trying to fix the slide stop issue to try to bend out the little part for the follower, but it's fine. The reason I did that was I was getting premature lockback. So I'll put in some clips of the first day I shot this gun. What was happening was I was pushing up on my grip too high and I was locking the slide back while I was still shooting and not empty yet. So that's no bueno. So I had to get something that was going to fix that, and it pretty much did fix it. So that was one of the reasons why I did that. Another thing I did more recently, I bought this a couple months ago, was I got a Tango Down. It's from Tango Down, but it's a Vigorous Tactical magazine release. It's not really that big, but it's rounded, and it comes out a little bit more than the stock one, and it makes me a little bit more consistent, so that's why I like that. Another thing I did was run the TLR1 HPX. This is the top performing pistol light right now on the market. This beats literally everything. This thing's amazing, and getting its own review. This thing is lit. A thing I did recently was an undercut. Seems to help a little bit. Haven't shot it too much since I did it, so more update on that. Now let's talk. Oh, another thing I did have that was a failure was another magwell. It was a Strike Industries one. It was polymer. Garbage. Don't use it. If you tighten it enough to lock to the gun, you can't get magazines in and out like freely. And then if you don't tighten it enough, it just comes off. So garbage. This is an eBay one. It was like $25 or something like that. Works great. So now let's talk malfunctions. So I did have some malfunctions on this gun when I first started, but that was user-induced with the premature slide lock back. Other than that, I didn't have malfunctions, like a legit malfunction out of this gun, for a long time. I would say maybe 6 months into owning it, so that's about 6 to 7K rounds at that point. And I think it was just I had maybe a couple failure to feeds or something like that, but for the first like 6,000 rounds, I don't think I had a single problem. The only problem I ever did was I had one light primer strike. And I think I've had a total of 2, maybe 3 now. And one of them I'll roll here. It was on one of my recent videos. The primer just was not there, so you can't really count that against the gun. I think I had 1 or 2 other ones which were light primer strikes. So, I mean, in a like 10 to 11, 12K rounds, like 2 or 3 light primer strikes is amazing. So what more can you want? As far as reliability, it's been fairly reliable. Only problem I really remember having was just the premature slide lock back. Other than that, it's been great. Now, when I put the KKM Match Precision barrel and comp on this thing, I did run into issues. Now, this does need to be cleaned, they say, every 500 rounds or so for optimal use. I haven't done that. I tried to clean it recently, but these things are fucking hard to clean. So, as long as I use like a really strong magazine spring, like a brand new mag, or when I use the mag extensions, which I'm going to go over, it does feed just fine. It feeds with my training ammo and my carry ammo. So I wouldn't say it's 100% reliable, but with my carry mags and my carry ammo, it's 100% reliable. I had no issues, and I've run a few hundred rounds through it. And then with the training ammo that I was using, it's no problem as long as I have like high quality magazine springs. Now what I mean by that is ones that aren't deeply used. So it's moon dust out here where I train a lot of the times, and when that gets into shit, it just fucks everything up. So training a lot, especially through the whole year, I'm dropping those mags many times, and I didn't really clean any of the mags, so some of them started to have some failures. And then, you know, when I don't get locked back, I end up just swapping out the springs for a new one, and then typically don't have any more issues there. So let's talk magazine. So standard capacity for this is 13+1. So let's see, I think it's right here. So looks something like that. That's what I ran at first, but then I was like, I want more rounds. There's a B. Okay. All right, well, I guess the B is the cameraman now. So I don't really like these because it is kind of hard to get out if you need to get it out in a hurry, like if it jams up in the mag well. This one drops free. I see people talk about it a lot, like you need like cutouts on the side of your mag wells, and Jesus, no, leave me alone. Where'd it go? Okay, cool. You don't need cutouts on it. All you need to do is just get the slide open and then just finger fuck it. All right, so 13 rounders, okay, 13+1. You get 14 rounds. It's okay, not ideal. I did run one of these, which is a 13+1. These are +2 for 9mm, but +1 for 40. So you're getting 14+1, which is like standard capacity of a Glock 19 without the +1, obviously. It's 15 for that. Okay, it's kind of nice because you have something to grip onto. Cool. So then I started experimenting with other mag extensions. So I went over and got the, also my spare magazine typically was a 15 rounder. So I wouldn't run this in the gun just because it kind of would dig into me and stuff like that. But typically my spare magazine, when I would use appendix, I pretty much exclusively switched to this, but my spare magazine was a 15 rounder. So cool, 15+1. If you're gonna run that, that's cool. One of the things I started to go to though was mag extensions. This is not very fun. So one of the ones that is reliable is the Ghost magazine extension. This is for compact guns, so think your Glock 19, +4 for 9mm, +3 for 40. So I'm getting 16+1. So works pretty good. That's very crunchy from that moon sand, so not good, but not bad. All right, so then they also have some +6s for 9mm, but +5s for 40. That's what they look like. The problem with this is I wasn't getting locked back. So it's not a big deal to get locked back, but on my carry mags, I would prefer to have it. So these I pretty much don't use until I found out that I take my 22 rounders. Can you grab me one of the 22 rounders, please? Thank you. I took the 22 round, which is like the 24 for the 9mm. They look like this. This is also a spare magazine that I would carry in my pocket typically. So I'll have whatever magazine I'm rocking in the gun, my spare magazine on my carrier or here. And then this is typically something I'll run in an extra bag with me, have an extra one in the car, one in my pocket, just because it's an extra additional rounds, okay? So the 22 round mags, flawless, love these things. Great mags. So what I did was I took the spring out of one of those, put it in this, and now I can get all my rounds. So this is 18+1, so I can have 19 in the gun. That's a big improvement from 13+1. So stock, the springs really didn't work. They have Gen 2s of these and Gen 1s. I don't really care the difference. One thing I did have to do was file some of these down in some of the spots just to get it to get in there and then drop out freely. Not a big deal, I can do that, but one thing I didn't like is that they didn't lock back for me. I didn't have issues with the 9mm, but for some reason, maybe it was with my slide stop, although I tried it with my stock one and it didn't work. Some reason they didn't like my 40. It's whatever, I just don't really run these unless I put the springs in them. But the +3s did work. So now I am running this is as of recent, the Strike Industries mag extensions. This is for a Glock 19. I think these are +5 for Glock 19, so it's +4 for 40. Anything's always -1. So I'm getting, what is that? I think this is 18, right? All right, sorry for the commercial break, but Strike Industries mag extensions. These things are solid. Always had lockback on these, so you could tell if you're gonna get lockback or not if the follower pushes up far enough. So you can see on these, how far this pushes up is gonna tell you if you're gonna get lockback or not. Typically on the Ghost ones, my shit was like there, or like there, and I would not get lockback. This one is high enough, up enough, this part, that I'm gonna get lockback. So I know it was a spring issue on the Ghost ones. These didn't have an issue. These ones right away, it was just all the way. By the way, the only ones I carry are Gen 5. Doesn't really matter, but I just like the orange follower. They look better. So this is my standard 13 round mag with a +4 extension. So I'm getting 17 +1. So it's one more round than this, but these are almost the same size. Like literally barely bigger. And I get that extra round in there. So I'm running these now, typically. Or I will run this one just because I know it's reliable with the extra spring in there. So, not bad. Now my spare magazine is I take, oh, it's not this one. I take my 15 rounder, and this is for a Glock 17 or Glock 22. So this is, I think these are +6 for 9mm, +5 for 40. So this is a 15 round mag with a +5. I'm getting 20 rounds in this. That's great. So this is my spare magazine. So I can have the 20 right here on my body. It's a little bit shorter than the 22 round mags. Actually, quite a lot of it shorter, honestly. So obviously 2 less rounds, but looks a little better. Looks a little weird on the gun, but I mean, it's gonna be my spare mag. So if I have to do a reload, more bullets is better, okay? So not bad, like that a lot. Now, let's go back talking about shootability. So people will always say 40 is very snappy, it's this and that. The fact of the matter is, they finally built this gun right. And what I mean by that is, if you look at one of the first guns ever built in 40 that I can remember, or one of the big ones, I think it was, what the fuck was it? Was it a Walther or a USP or something like that? The gun was built for 40. It was built chunkier, it was built heavier. Typically, like I said, they build these on 9mm frames. The issue with that is you just have more mass. It's more mass coming back into your wrist, and then also it's just a hotter caliber. Now, with my carry ammo, which is the critical duty, as you probably saw before, it's very mild. This bullet is so good that they don't need to load it hot as fuck. Another thing I will say, I haven't tested accuracy with any other loads, but I was able to punch like a 1-inch pasty on a target at 15 yards, which is what I zeroed at, and always maintain 0, and it's very accurate. Very consistent. I noticed with my 135 grain plus B and my 9mm, for whatever reason, I couldn't get a good 0. Once I switched over to the Ramjet, that seemed to help it, so maybe the barrel just liked that more. I noticed with this though, not only was this cheaper than the carry ammo for the 9mm, it was more accurate for me and performed better. And you can do your own research, but this was a top performer in the FBI testing. So this, I think they had like 400 something tests. This passed, I think, all of them or most of them. So it is a very high performing round. It's a very slept on round. If you don't want to run it, that's fine. I like 40. It's a very mild recoiling round though, compared to most 40. Like if you shoot like the Spear Lawman training ammo, stuff's fucking hot. This shit, not bad. Also, you can get this in training ammo, so it's just the same loading, the same point of impact, everything, but it's not the flex tip. It's just literally a bullet that looks just like it, but it's an FMJ. So that's really cool. So shootability, really not that bad. Once I put the comp on there, really great. Once I put the light on there, amazing. Like the gun just shoots amazing. Now, I didn't get the comp till about 7K rounds, so I feel like the comp's something I had to earn. The comp is really great. It's a little big for my liking. It adds a lot of weight and just bulk to the gun, but it does work very well. Now that I've hit 10K though, this gun's gonna get revamped. What I mean by that is I'm gonna essentially revamp the build, redo the build. So it's gonna get I'm gonna essentially do a 23X. So I'm gonna get a full size grip, keep the compact slide, different dot, probably gonna go with the new Vortex dot. Light's probably gonna stay because it's the top performer. I do have a Cloud EPL, but not quite sure how much I like it. I'm gonna run a little bit, see, but this is the top performing weapon light. This beats the Surefires, all the other stream lights before it. Mod light, it's great. There are some weak points on it that I will touch upon in the review, but that's neither here nor there. Comp's gonna stay, iron sights are gonna stay. Ignore the trigger, it's not supposed to be here right now, but we were testing an FRT today. I'm probably gonna get a new trigger, and then I'm gonna have to get another slide stop, obviously, to get it to work. Magazine release is gonna stay. I'll obviously get a different mag well, and then I'll be running the extensions on that, so I'll have 20+1. So yeah, gun's amazing, very reliable, more reliable than the Gen 3s and possibly the Gen 4s. I've had issues, a lot of issues with feeding on my 27, my Gen 3 23, and even the Glock 22 Gen 4. They improved the feed ramps on these to make them wider so you can get more consistent feeding, which I did notice, like, drastic increase. I mean, you can expect a malfunction, few malfunctions every 1,000 rounds. It's just something kind of you have to live with if you shoot enough. It's generally accepted. The fact that I went a long time with no malfunctions is pretty crazy to me. So gun's very shootable. It's really not that bad. If you're gonna get a 40, I would definitely recommend one of the Gen 5s. 23 is probably the smallest I'll go. I don't really recommend the 27. It's a little too small, honestly, unless you're gonna put like a mag extension to get a full-size grip. But great, gun's amazing, recommend it highly, and stay tuned for the Glock 23X. Sorry, almost forgot something I do want to touch on. So since the slide is chonkier, you can't use a Glock 19 holster. So typically with all the other generations, you can use a Glock 19 holster or, you know, your 19X45, whatever, because it's built on a 9mm frame. This is built on a 9mm frame, not a 9mm slide though, like it normally is. So it's chonkier. So you actually have to get a Gen 5 40 caliber specific holster for this. So I was running a sidecar before. That was before they did all the fuck shit that they did to Lucas. So I don't recommend going to them again. Probably go with Tentacore. I don't know if they make 40 cal holsters though. Then I started running the grab bag. I ran the 945 Industries bag, and I ran their holster for a while. And then whenever I got it, I had to cut the end of the holster out for the bezel for the TLR7 HLX because they didn't have one yet. And then when I switched to this, I realized the quality on the grab bags, the magnetic ones, because I have another bag that I use. And I noticed when I got that bag, when you get the holster with it, their holsters are a lot higher quality than the 945 Industries ones. So if you are going to run a bag of any sort, I definitely recommend the grab bags. I'm probably going to get another grab bag to do a review on because I think some of the designs are better. But definitely need a Gen 5 40 caliber holster, and the grab bags are very nice for that. Have a good one, y'all.